Another episode here at the MTIP Collective. My name is Mike Maccabee, for those who don't know, and you, my dear, are. Who are you?
I am Brigitte Lina.
Brigitte Lina.
Lina.
What a beautiful name. Where are you from, Brigitte?
I am originally from France, from Paris.
Beautiful.
I moved to Miami 20 years ago.
20 years now in South Florida.
22, almost 22 years ago.
You go a lot? You go back to
From time
Paris?
to time.
Nice. You miss it?
No way.
No way!
No way.
No, I don't blame
I
you.
love Miami.
I like that. And so what do you do, Brigitte? What's your profession?
I'm doing a real estate and I'm working on the commercial and residential field.
Amazing. It's very rare to find commercial professionals that are female, so it's always good, refreshing to see. There's not that many in the industry.
Thank you.
What brokerage firm are you with?
I'm working with One Sotheby's.
One Sotheby's.
Yes.
Amazing. And how long have you been with them?
Since 2018.
2018. I mean, are you alone? You have a team?
So I have a team. We are 5 people in that team, just working with experts in real estate. And I'm doing large part of marketing. I love marketing. I love technology. I love also give and share my expertise into real estate, because I know by heart Miami, how it works, this, that, the deal, this. So
You're like a jack of or queen of a lot of trades. You know how to do a lot of things.
I'm very passionate about what I'm doing. Yeah.
That's
It's about passion.
Of course, ultimately, money's great, right? Making money is great, but you wake up every day, you want to do something you're excited to do, and that's your passion. And real estate is your passion. So let me ask you, what do you think the market's like today for you? How is it treating you? Is it a buyer's market, seller's market? How are you feeling with the market?
So it moves slowly from the seller to buyer. Right now, we are definitely into a buyer market with still high interest rate.
Yep.
And price is extremely high in Miami with inflation. Life is also high in Miami. So I believe that now the seller comes to the reality, I'm sorry.
The reality. Yeah.
There's
that flex there for you.
Come back to the reality where now we saw more inventory and more negotiation for sure.
Yep.
I recently closed a deal which was listed for a house at 3.5, and we got the deal done at 2.7.
Wow, that's incredible.
It was like, okay, some discussion over 2 weeks, but...
How long was that property on the market before you managed to make that offer? Like days on market?
Not so long ago, like probably 3 months. Not so long.
That's not that long at all. Mm-hmm. Were you the buyer rep or the seller rep there?
I was representing the buyer, no. If I represent the seller, I'm going to the top.
What does that mean?
It means that when I take a listing, generally, I tour the property, and if I found something which is not replied to the standard, so when I go to the property, I have to have like the buyer vision. So what the buyer needs, he needs to dream, he has to have the vision, the house needs to smell like a hotel, he has to have like some detail. And last time I took a listing, I didn't like it. I said to the seller, listen, we shouldn't put on market right now. I set up some people to organize a little tweaks, decoration, painting, this, that, making it nice, clean. He spent $20,000 on some tweak, and for showing under contract, we're closing this week.
That's amazing.
It was a property in Harding Avenue. So all the time, because I don't want to waste the time and and the seller be disappointed about what's going on, and finally it doesn't sell. It's just a little tweak and also the right price.
Sure.
And probably no lockbox. I don't work with a lockbox. I work with my team, me. But I think showing in person, having the contact, having this.
That's the biggest difference. That's that personal touch and service that people expect at that price point too.
Yes, it helps. It gives buyer confidence.
Yep.
When they ask a question about the property, about that, it's easy. It's much more easier, and Yes, this is the way I do.
How you manage your deals.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. What got you into real estate? Why real estate?
Why real estate? Why real estate? I love money.
I love money. That's a good answer. That's an honest answer.
I think real estate is a combination of lot of skill you have to have. It has to be, you have to be good in marketing. You have to be good in on numbers, on vision, on creativity also, on probably also vision, yes. Vision, future, not be stuck in the present, but say, okay, what is the vision? Where are we going to move?
It's dynamic. You
Yeah.
like that it's dynamic.
Yeah.
And that it keeps you on.
It
on
is
your
my
feet.
personality, probably.
Yeah, you seem like a very dynamic woman.
A little bit, yes. Too much.
So let me ask you, what's something you can really go back and say that was probably the best deal I ever made? What's a deal that you closed and that you want to share that was a huge accomplishment for you in your career to this point?
Probably two deals. Two deals. One deal, it was in Bel Harbor. So it was 3 years ago. I closed that deal originally at 8 million.
Nice.
After 2021, I represent the seller, and we closed at 13 million.
Nice.
From the 13 million a year later, because it was like a seller financing, and the buyer were probably too anxious about the expense, and they're probably too ambitious. So they wanted to sell it, and I found a buyer to him, which was at 17 million.
That's a big difference.
It was in Village of Bel Harbor, yes. And now I saw this property completely redeveloped. And I'm not the listing agent, but hitting soon the market at 72 million.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All this in like less than a decade. That's a quick jump.
Less than 10 years, probably 8 years.
That's
8
incredible.
years in a row. And another one deal, which was kind of the circumstance. I have a buyer that I was working on. We were working on a deal, and we were under contract. And when we passed that inspection, it was a big building. How much? 23 million, something like that.
Nice.
We passed the inspection. Before we passed the inspection, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? He said yes, it was not operating building. And that building needed to have, so he have a lot of idea about concept and this and that. And I said, are you sure? Because there was like a $1 million deposit. And he had to add another, I think another 500 or something like that. And he said, yeah, yes. So he wires the 500. A week later, he called me. He said, Brigitte, I cannot make it. We have to cancel. I said, we have to cancel, but I told you.
It went hard?
It went hard.
Oh, wow. That's a trick.
Now,
What'd you do?
I say, okay, let me think about it. So it was off market. It was commercial deal. I represented the seller, and I was represented the buyer.
You're what we do here in Florida. I think it's called a transaction broker. Is that the term?
Yes, it's a top.
Okay.
Right.
I'm
Transaction broker.
Okay, good.
Transaction broker, exactly. And I went see the seller. He's home. He said, oh, you have to tell me something important. And I have a great idea. Because he owned a hotel in Miami Beach.
The buyer won.
The seller. But I called the buyer. I say, listen, if you are freaking out about because it's a non-operating building and you have to create a lot of things, he run an operating, and probably we can switch.
You're so smart.
And we can make the deal.
You're so smart.
So instead of cancellation and this and that and going to this, I say, okay. So I went to the seller, straight to his room, and asked him. And I said, listen, it doesn't just feel comfortable, but I heard that you probably may sell the hotel. He said, yes. I said, how much you going to sell? He said, 35. I said, 35 is a bit high. Already we can negotiate. So let's meet all together the next day and try to find a deal. We found a deal, they signed it, and I close. It was a 110 room in Miami Beach that I closed for 33 million.
That's incredible. That's incredible, Brigitte.
That's cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Was that your biggest deal to the point?
Yeah, it was my biggest deal. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's very, very impressive. And so let's pivot from that and go the other way. What was like a very challenging experience in your history or career that you had to overcome? And it doesn't have to be just business, could be personal. Something that was an obstacle in your career in real estate or in general that you had a really hard time overcoming. What was that obstacle? How did you overcome it?
Back in 2008, I was French. I lost my visa. I was about my visa to expire. I lost my mom.
I'm so sorry.
2008. And 2008 was a crash,
That's right.
world crash. And no business, a lot of interrogation. 2 small kids. My ex-husband would say, "Oh, you don't have nothing to do in Miami, and you have to go back in Paris and this." And when I lost my mom, when she passed away in Miami. So we had to come with her to France, to Paris. And I called my immigration attorney and asked her, okay, what should I do? Because I was 2 months about to expire my visa and it's very
Wow, that
complicated.
was a challenge, of course.
And she said, you have probably 60% chance to not come back.
Oh my God.
So you have to stay. I said, I go anyway. And in my mind, I said something because I was in a cross of my life. And I say, I have to be, Imuna.
Faith. You need to have the munah, faith.
I have to be happy of any circumstance that I'm gonna have. So I will have to go because I have to be with my mom and with my family, super important. And when I came back to you, and when I came back, I said, okay, there is a chance that I'm gonna go to Paris, but if I go to Paris, or if I come back, I have to be happy, and it's because probably my destiny is here, and not in Miami anymore. But if I jump to Miami, I'm gonna do probably 5 times. I'm gonna make 5 times the money I lost, because I lost money also a lot. And
Anyone that's successful, everyone that's successful,
yeah,
has gone through that trial and error of failing and losing to get to where they got. That's a guarantee.
no, exactly. And probably I gained 10 years in maturity into business, in my emotion. Anyway, so
that's really important. I think a lot of people that hopefully watch this don't know that you could come from, humble beginnings, struggle, succeed, plummet, keep going, another adversity. It's just nonstop punching in the face, I call it. I tell my wife every day, I say, listen, if you want to do entrepreneurship, any kind of entrepreneurship, regardless, expect getting punched in the face every day. It's work. It's not pleasant, but the satisfaction that the fulfillment that you feel, knowing that you have the capacity, the emotional capacity, the psychological capacity to overcome these types of things in life, isn't that worth everything?
it was everything, and it's a drive. You wake up for a purpose. You wake up for. You have the energy. You believe on it. You try to find a way. You try to be different from others because agents, real estate agents here in Miami-Dade, we are at solid 2000s. And I think that they give license without really...
setting a standard or a bar.
Yes. This kind of my frustration. I would love one day having the MLS at $5,000 a year. I say, wow, what a big difference,
Raising the bar would just then get rid of all the riffraff, because there's a lot of riffraff.
Yeah. And you have, you know what? I have my uncle or my friend, which has his license, he's going to sell my property. But when you see the pictures or you see the marketing and when you see the result probably is solid for less that you should expect, or probably, I don't know, but there is.
It wasn't a good representation of what it could have been had
No.
it been done by a professional like Brigitte here.
But yes, no, it was a challenge, and I finally got and went to Miami. And at that time, because it was really like emotional time for me, I say I gonna work a lot, but I gotta make it, and I knew it. And,
That's powerful, Brigitte.
and I did it. I did it with, I think, all my heart, all my dedication, all my vision, all my
Charisma.
everything.
Yeah.
all everything. Yeah.
That's a beautiful story. I'm sorry you lost your mom. And I'm sure that's not easy. We all eventually lose our parents. And the fact that you had the core values that you grew up with, to know that no matter what, you self-sacrifice your ambition to honor your mother, which is a beautiful thing. Let's pivot for a second. What do you feel about AI and what's happening in the world of AI? Are you using AI? Are you an AI person? Are you scared of AI? Where are you with AI?
I love AI. I love new technology. I love when we are going to more efficiency. And if we can just speed up our time, that it's amazing. I use ChatGPT daily.
Sure. Who doesn't love ChatGPT?
I just love it. I upload documents.
How do you use? Give me a practical way on a daily basis that you use ChatGPT.
Let's say that I'm super in rush, like every time, and I need to summarize the document and this and that. But I know the document. I know what's written because I read it. I studied it. But I just need to have like the highlight. It's gonna. So I notice that sometimes ChatGPT doesn't give the real summarization, and I say, how come? How come? So I have to tweak. I have to come back, and I say, I'm not ready to send it. So I delay to send to a client, and I don't send it. So I try to find and to explore that. And I know how to push the ChatGPT. And I say to ChatGPT, listen, you have to be completely accurate, 100% accurate. If not, I will not ask you anymore and you're going to be fired.
You did not do that
No,
to ChatGPT.
seriously, a week ago, because I tried to find a way to do some accurate, because sometimes really not accurate.
It hallucinates. It's AI.
It's not, no, it's
Yeah.
not, but, so I love AI, but I would love to, what I'm scared about AI is to lose intelligence for our next generation.
Sure.
For our kids, grandkids, to lose, to be like, how do you say?
Lazy?
Lazy clone, same, because I think the diversity, someone is intelligent, someone has probably the practical intelligence, someone has a different intelligence.
Sure.
Everybody has a certain sense of ability, skill, intelligence.
Agreed.
If you ask me to draw, I'm terrible drawing. I'm terrible to fixing something on the floor. I'm terrible. But if you ask me to sell a property, I'm very good at that.
Well, that's a given.
But
Of course.
and I think having like the same intelligence, the same thing, and having a machine who's going to be superior to us, where is the humanity? So we have to do a.
That's a very interesting observation. I have a different opinion. I look at today, you use ChatGPT like my dad was. My dad's 82, God bless him. He's a very smart structural engineer. He went to the Technion in Israel, and he said, Mike, we didn't have calculators. So when you think about it, he was calculating very complicated trigonometry on chicken scratch with no calculator, no calculus, nothing. So I said, how did it feel when you saw the next generation have a calculator? He said, we all thought they were cheating because we didn't get that. So I said, treat ChatGPT, because we were having this discussion over a Shabbat dinner once. I said, ChatGPT has become like the new calculator. You use it as a tool, and it's supposed to make you smarter, not lazier or less individual. right now, the fact that you opened your phone and you had a conversation and you got angry at ChatGPT is your individuality, and ChatGPT starts to morph into accommodating you specifically. And eventually AI is going to be, what I think it's going to happen is it's going to complement your day-to-day life to the level where you will now have unlimited time to be able to do all the things that you love without needing to worry about utilities and car payments and mortgages and all the people that you got to deal with. That's what I think is going to happen. And I think people that get on the bandwagon of using these technologies are going to just get there first, get there faster, and enjoy the benefits of it more efficiently than those that are going to be resistant. And I feel like there's a lot of people today, I think most people are very resistant to change. They don't like it. They don't like the idea of it replacing them. But unlike you, Brigitte, which is very forward-thinking, and the future is bright for people like you.
Thank you.
So I want to wrap up with
You
one
have
last
good
question.
energy too.
God bless you. We try.
Very, very nice energy.
If you right now are someone new coming into the business, what advice would you give that new Brigitte? Better yet, I'll have a better question for you. What if you could go back in time to the younger Brigitte that was just starting out in real estate? You teleport.
No?
You look great.
Okay.
But starting out in the business, what advice would you give her if you had 5 minutes, you teleported into this little vessel and you saw yourself and she already knows you from the future and you had to share some knowledge? What would you tell her to get started? What would you tell her to help her get ahead?
I will, first of all, I say you have to have a good mindset. Number one, focus, good mindset. You cannot succeed in anything you do, and especially in real estate, if you don't have the focus.
Focus.
So let's say that if you wake up at 9 a.m., you do everything, the kids, 9:30, you are at work. And your focus, no personal conversation, nothing. Just if you start your business, I think it's super exciting starting a business because you have the time. You have a time to choose your clients, and people doesn't realize that.
Wow, that's so valuable and so true.
So if I had the time, my challenge is time. But if I had that time, I will be focused on one thing would probably just focus on a niche market in real estate. Where you want to focus on one area, you want to be focused on only commercial, only warehouse, only multifamily, or only pre-construction, but just have the focus on one thing and be the expert and be known, promote yourself in any way. Go to do some podcast, use invest money on social media, on marketing, don't hesitate.
Don't be scared to spend the capital to get ahead.
Absolutely. You make $100. The $100 you spend the $25 for your business.
I like that. That's actually a good number that you just gave. For every $100 you earn, you should probably spend 25% of that on the business.
For invest. And after the investment is going to be growing, and this is really, and the person who's going to do that, and probably if that person doesn't have enough confidence, she has to go everywhere, like open house, like fill up her agenda to know better the area, better this, better that. And
she needs to study her market.
Yes, study your market. It's a lot of work. Study the contract. Also study, do some things that you feel comfortable with. Be with the clients you feel comfortable with, kind of client fit with your profile. Let's say you're French. Go to French people. At least you're going to be probably more comfortable. And
that makes sense.
You move to different culture, That's
really great advice. Everything you just said is very, very super important. Very, very smart lady. I would love to do more of these with you. here at the MTIP Collective, we only interview the top performing people in this city. And Brigitte is one of those people. If you guys want to get in touch with Brigitte, how do people find you?
Brigitte Lina group on my Instagram. You send me a message and I can reply.
Is it you replying? Because I think you're super busy.
I don't use AI yet for reply. But I never use it. So I reply, yes.
Okay, amazing. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully we'll be able to do more of these. We'll talk about some of your next up and coming and big deals. And I really appreciate your time, Brigitte. Thank you for being here tonight.
My pleasure. My
Thank you.
pleasure. Thank you.
See you next time, guys.
See you.